We all know that the work for racial and gender equality is not over. So I just want to acknowledge that, Code Pink San Francisco is part of Plaza 16, the coalition, so I just want to recognize that our sisters and brothers are here from the Mission. We're seeing a great deal of gentrification that's happening there. The building I'm in is on the corner of 16th and Mission. And of course, there's rumors that the owner, she's going to sell the building to a developer. So, boo, yeah. So I just want to introduce Maria. Maria is with Just Cause, and she is the organizer working on housing and immigration issues here in San Francisco. She's our surprise speaker, and she's awesome. How's everybody doing today? We ready to let these mayors know what's up? So I think it was really important what someone said before, that the conversations that are being had at this conference of mayors are not the conversations that are being had on the ground. 200, 300 mayors from major cities across the United States are coming to San Francisco to talk public safety, to talk housing policy, to talk economic justice, and they're doing it while being sponsored by Wells Fargo. We know Wells Fargo. We know that Wells Fargo as an institution continuously puts immigrants in detention centers for profit. We're marching over later to the housing forum, right? The mayor's conference is having their housing forum. Their housing forum is being sponsored by Google in San Francisco, where Google buses throughout the neighborhood have increased rents, have increased evictions. This conversation is being led by Ed Lee, who consistently divests from funding the necessary resources for affordable, deeply affordable housing development and the social services needed to keep people in their homes. So if these mayors are going to come to San Francisco and they're going to try to have conversations about economic justice and housing rights and public safety, then they need to hear from us, the people on the ground, the people doing this work. They need to understand why we need money to go into social services instead of increasing the police budget. They need to hear why gentrification is a racialized issue that is pushing out Black and Latino families from their historical neighborhoods. And they need to hear from us that there is resistance, that there is a movement, and that we're not just going to let them sell all of our cities. That these cities are for us, and we're going to keep living in them. Because whose city is
our
this?
City.
Whose city is this?
Our city.
Whose city?
Our city.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you so much.
Right.
I'd like to welcome now Lamisha, who came to the U.S. She has worked in program management of domestic violence issues and substance use issues until her only child, Idris Stelly, was shot 48 times by 9 SFPD officers inside the Matreon Theater. Among them are Officer Ian Farminger and Officer Razak, now going to jail on multiple corruption and theft charges. Lamisha is the administrator of the Idris Stelly Foundation that provides free direct services to survivors of police violence and families of loved ones killed by law enforcement. We give a warm welcome to Lamisha. Thank you so much.
All right, and we are here to call on the force. Tonight you will hear about a group that call themselves Mayor of Peace, but we're protesting here. The Mayors of War. War at home and war abroad. I came here 40 years ago to live the American dream, so I thought. And this is the place I chose to have a child, where the police killed him at the Matreon 2 blocks away from me and shot him 48 times for being black. Then I had bought a house for him, and the house is boarded up now. There's only 3.9% black people left in San Francisco. 3,000 Latinos have left the Mission last year. Whatever happened to Santuario, the sanctuary city? It's a farce. What's happening to sanctuary city is that Edwin Lee last year went to seek investors in China, and hear this. If you are an affluent Chinese person and can invest $500,000 in San Francisco, you get an automatic green card. You become a permanent non-resident. And this is why now San Francisco is no longer white or Jewish fortunes, it's Chinese fortune. And not the part of China that inspire us. Not the red women who fought for our rights 70 years ago, okay? So I'm really glad that you're all here, because we need to call the hype. The reason they are here is to increase the militarization of police, to bypass the Ellis Act and accelerate the gentrification, and do a think tank together about riot control, and not to smash the revolution if we decide that the time has come. So as much as we like to be here under the sun and holding signs, we are counting on all of you when the day comes. And it's very, very close now. We're going to need to rage on, of course, protect each other as much as we can. But the time has come. Thank you.
Every one of you to stand with us to fight for our liberation, because until our people are free, none of us are free. And I'm glad to see everyone here understanding that. And I'm not here to speak right now to plead to the mayors. I'm not coming back at 6 o'clock or 5:30, whatever it is tonight, later with the Anti-Police Terror Project. I'm not coming back with them to beg or plead to the mayors. I'm here to stand with Misha and all the rest of you to demand from the mayors that they listen to us, that they see our unity. This is what they are afraid of, is all of us uniting together. We need to unite and make our message very loud, very unignorable. We need to do that together, all of us, so that the mayors have no other choice but to give in to our demands, to capitulate to us. Right now, the people who the mayors across the nation, I'm pretty sure that the mayors in other cities are much like the mayor of my city, the mayor of Oakland, Libby Schaaf, who's paying a lot. That's right, boo. Shame on you, Libby Schaaf. She is paying a lot more attention to the Oakland Police Officers Association. It's a fake union protecting the police officers, and it has nothing to do with protecting and serving the people of Oakland. Because that very institution, OPD, is the same institution that murdered Alan in 2012 and murdered another man just a little over a week ago, Demoria Hogg, for sleeping while black. Alan was murdered for running while black. Mayor Schaaf has stood by and not only done nothing, she's been complicit. That means she's been active in covering up the lies and all of the injustices that happened with Alan's murder, that happened with Francois Rayner, 15-year-old who got shot in the face for being black. He did live, thank God. And then we have Demoria Hogg, murdered by OPD for the crime of sleeping while being black. We all together need to unite to make our mayors be unable to ignore our message that Black Lives Matter. Absolutely. I feel a little energy when I say that in the crowd. Black Lives Matter. Do y'all want everyone in the buildings to hear us? Can we keep going? Black Lives Matter! Black Lives Matter! Black Lives Matter! Black Lives Matter! Yeah, y'all sound amazing. And I really hope that all of you and all of this energy can come back when we gather in front of the Hilton at 6. The mayors think that they're going out to go to some party. They think they deserve to party. Do you all think they deserve to party?
No!
Well, the blood of our people is running in the streets. Idris's blood is running still in the streets of San Francisco. Alan's blood is running in the streets of Oakland. Mike Brown's blood is running in the streets of Ferguson. The blood of our people is running in the streets from every city, from San Francisco to Oakland to Ferguson to New York City. Our mayors do not deserve to party. I would love to see all of you come back at the Hilton at 5:36, somewhere in there tonight. Join the Anti-Police Terror Project as we block the buses, or maybe just disrupt them, but keep the mayors from getting on with their nice little party plans.
That's right. Do it.
Thank you, everyone. And don't forget, it's all of our jobs to fight state-sponsored police terror. All power to the people. Black Lives Matter! Black Lives Matter! Black Lives Matter! Black Lives Matter!
No justice, no peace. No racist police.
No justice, no peace.
No racist police. No racist police.
No justice, no peace.
No racist police.
No justice, no peace.
No racist police.
No justice, no peace.
No racist police. The mayors don't care about us.
They don't care.
They care about their party.
They want to party on taxpayer dollars.
Okay, so of human life. A system that thrives on the mentality that a shoe store, a watch store, a bank is worth more than a human life is not a system worth fighting for. Black and brown lives matter. Black and brown lives matter. Stop the killing of black men, women, and children at the hands of the police.
Hi everybody, my name is Andrea Combs. You guys totally rock for being here today. I just want to let you know we drove up from Sacramento today. And I'm with Operation Expose CPS, Child Protective Services. We've been holding rallies and protests. We just protested on June 5th in front of the Sacramento Family Courthouse. It was a 7-country event all across the U.S. But 2 years ago, on June 5th, 2013, the police knocked on my door. They wanted to do a welfare check on my baby, and of course it was a false call from her father because he just lost custody of her to me. He didn't even try to fight for her. So because he couldn't take her, he called the police. When the officer asked to do a welfare check on my baby, I offered to step outside. That wasn't good enough for him. He said he's coming in. I asked him if he had a warrant because that's my right, correct? He said he didn't have one. But I still offered to step outside so he could look at my little girl. He put his foot in the door and tried to force his way in. And when I started screaming as I was trying to close my door shut, this jerk decided to pull a gun on me while I was holding a 2-year-old baby in my hands. This is the Citrus Heights Police in Sacramento County, you guys. Now, thank God, my little girl, who was only not even 2 years old yet, recorded the officers in my house saying they weren't calling CPS. But guess what? They walked off with her in a warrantless seizure. And it's happening all across the nation. It's happening in other countries too. And it's very important that if they come knocking on your door, you don't have to open the door to them. You do not have to open the door to them. Do not open the door to CPS. Do not open the door for the cops. They have no probable cause. Make them come back with a warrant. That is your constitutional right. You do not have to open the door. That's your house. You pay to live there. Defend your rights. Right. Now, let's fast forward. The same officer that pulled a gun on me now has a civil rights lawsuit against him, and this is recent. Okay? It's not behind me, but he violated somebody else's rights when he pulled them over. 2 weeks after my daughter was taken, I called the Citrus Heights Police Department because it's also my right to file a tort claim. I have his superior who said this call is being recorded for quality assurance. That's fine because I recorded it too. And guess what? At 20 minutes into the conversation, you know what this jerk told me? I absolutely refuse to file a complaint against my officers. Now, mind you, I have this recorded, and here we are a year and a half, 2 years later, and this same officer is being sued for violating civil rights. Well, guess what? The police department knew they had a corrupt cop on before, so my recording is about to help this person win a civil rights lawsuit against the Citrus Heights Police. It's your right to put call recorder on your phone. It's your right to record everything. If they come in your house, it's your right to video record them. Okay, it's our right. These body cameras they want to talk about putting on our officers, do you really think that's going to stop them from editing anything? Really?
I've lived in San Francisco most of my life. I went away for a few years in college, and I came back, and man, just go away and come back, and you can see what the policies of Ed Lee have done to this city. The city that I grew up in, the city that I loved, is severely imperiled right now. So I just want to say the U.S. Conference of Mayors is here, and we are here saying that we don't support their policies. I think there's an air of self-satisfaction in this celebration. They're celebrating what they view as their success. And if you break that down, I mean, these people, they're mayors, they're not the president, but they have a lot of power. Moreover, a lot of them are Democrats, and they pose as the party of the people. So the mandate that they have as mayors is to help the people, to reverse the trends and inequality that we've been seeing, that we saw in the Bush administration, that we continue to see. How have these Democrats used their power? Has it been to help the people? No. They've helped crush the Occupy movement, right, and the Black Lives Matter movement. They've helped privatize and resegregate public schools. They've helped turn housing into a commodity so that barely anyone can afford rent. And the list goes on. So from Baltimore to San Francisco, the policies that are being celebrated inside are the reverse of what we actually need. Right. So one simple example, policing. You actually wanted a police force that served the people. Police could be democratically elected in their neighborhoods. The whole citizenry could be trained in responsible community policing so that there could be police on a rotating basis. And the police could be disarmed. Instead of feeling like an alien force that are occupying our territory in support of capital, the police could be people who help other people stay safe just by being part of that community. And it would feel a lot better to be a policeman too. But we don't have that policy. Moreover, how would you stop crime, right? You would invest in public schools, you would invest in neighborhoods to make them beautiful places. I grew up in Forest Hill in San Francisco. I never walked outside of my house and said I want to commit a crime right now. Why? Because everything I had was everything that I needed was taken care of. If every neighborhood was like that, if we had a society that tried to make every neighborhood like that, as Martin Luther King Jr. said, let freedom ring from every valley, from every alleyway. If we had that, then we wouldn't need this social conflict. So what is the real root? What is really being pursued here? It's the pursuit of profits. It's exploiting the people and planet in order to expand capital, in order to get more commas, 1, 0, 0, to expand that abstraction at the expense of everything that we actually hold dear. And no one benefits from that, but that's the policy that's being pursued. We really need to turn this around, and it's going to take more than, oh, the mayors are here, let's have a protest. It's going to take sustained organization. It's going to take merging the movement of working class people, of black people, of women, merging that with a theory, idea of what kind of world we need. Okay, because saying what you don't want and what you're opposed to is a good start, but we need to get to, look, I want to be able to walk the streets and not know that this person is a capitalist and that person's a worker and that person's a cop. I just want to live on a planet with other human beings.
Lives matter! Black lives matter! Black lives matter!
Veteran, and I feel that as an old guy, I really have the right to be offended by the direction this country has taken. You know, we have 25% of the world's prisoners in our country. We're 5% of the population. 1 out of 4 prisoners on this planet are in this country. That itself tells you things are out of control. That we've lost any kind of a commitment to social justice. You know, when I speak to my fellow veterans and they talk to me about PTSD or something like that, I have to say, don't call 911. Whatever you do, don't call 911. Because the police are not prepared to help people who are having a mental health crisis. And we need to acknowledge that. And we need to make sure that when somebody calls and they say there's a mental health crisis going on, that the police don't interact with the patient until social workers or other trained facilitators arrive. We don't need police overreacting and shooting down mentally challenged people in the moment of a crisis because they don't understand what's going on and they don't know how to talk to them. When I was growing up, the policeman spoke before he hit you or tased you or shot you. He approached you as a human being, not a soldier. The problem with this country right now, one of the serious problems, is we've become too militarized.
Yep.
The idea of the previous speaker of teaching community people how to dialogue with each other in the hopes of de-escalation is moving in the right direction. The other part of that is to get the police out of the role of handling situations that involve people who are having a mental health crisis. A lot of these veterans, a lot of these people in crisis are veterans, and they deserve to be handled with care. That's all I got to say. Thanks for being here.
The poverty scholar, racialized, marginalized, and always a struggle for $1. I'm all the people you don't want to see, never want to be. Look away from me. What you gonna do, mayors? Arrest me? I'm in your city. I'm the poverty scholar, and I rock this jailhouse attire because me and my mama did 3 months in jail for the crime of poverty in this holler. So first of all, I want to give it up to the indigenous peoples of this stolen Turtle Island. Because before we had the current 21st century gentrification, we had colonization, which was the original gentrification. And none of us are going to be allowed to be here if these corporate mayors and these politicians have their way. They are building multi-billion-dollar jails in every city to put every poor person they get. And let's be very real. As far as they're concerned, there is only space for what I affectionately call the Gentry Tech Nation. So, mayors, please listen, open your ears, because you could not get elected into your politrickster lies if you did not have the people. And as I stand next to a police officer, I ask you to remember that you are working people before you are perpetrators and killers. And so that means you're actually more in line with us out here than them in there. And I want to honor my brother Quanah standing here of the First Nations people of UNA who are not allowed to be in their own land because they were going to make billions of dollars in this corporate lie called America-KKK. Lastly, I want to say gentrification is real. And yesterday, on Friday, they talked about the billion-dollar jail in San Francisco. That is the only form of public housing that they want to put poor people in. And if folks do not know, comrades from Occupy and Just Cause and others, that there is a privatization movement of all poor people housing in the U.S. They have sold all the leases for public, which is the last form of poor people housing, to private investors. This is a war on the poor, and we will not be able to be here if we don't fight every single day. Thank you very much.
Veteran from the Cold War. I just missed Grenada and got out of there just before Panama. So I wanted to talk a little bit about the veterans issues that we face as communities. I think aside from the mental health challenges, PTSD, as Jim had talked about, aside from the fact that a lot of these brothers and sisters in blue are coming back from Iraq and Afghanistan with their own PTSD issues, gunning down other veterans with PTSD issues, we in Occupy Veterans are all about forging veteran solidarity and then taking those models into the communities, because we feel that homeless veterans are the defensive arm of the homeless nation. And as more and more people fall into that marginalized pool of disaffected workers, we need to bear in mind that the establishment will marginalize us, but we stigmatize ourselves in many ways by buying into their concepts of dysfunction, by buying into the dependency that we have on the federal government. So, you know, whereas as a veteran I felt I was fighting for my country, I became disillusioned by U.S. foreign policy in the way that the youth of the nation are basically manipulated into killing the youth of other nations. And the killing's got to stop. The killing's got to stop. And if we as Americans can show that we can reduce the violence in our own communities and reduce the militarization in our own neighborhoods, then what type of example is that to the rest of the world? All our goodwill has been blown since 9/11. And finally, the rest of the world in the United States, the American people from wherever they're from, can stand together with other nations that have been dealing with police brutality on such a more horrifying scale than we have in America. And if America is supposed to be the best of all places, then why do we have psycho cops gunning down people who have psychological problems? And I don't really have much more to add than that, other than we appreciate it when people come to us and thank us for our service. But you're not thanking me for what I did in Honduras, Guatemala, El Salvador. You're thanking me for what I'm doing in San Francisco. And we feel that veterans, our real duty begins here at home.
This will not call the FBI. Instead, they want to make partners with people in the community, leaders in religious institutions, in the churches, human services, social services. So they are expanding this program through the country, and they're also expanding it overseas. They've been holding meetings in cities in Australia, in Norway, and obviously there's some potential for, real safety here, but it's also a very insidious program of collaboration with the government when we know that the FBI, for example, has set people up who are unstable to get them to act out in ways that continue the narrative about terrorism that allows the crackdown to continue. So that was part of what was going on inside of this conference yesterday.